You ever look around and wonder why some people just seem to build incredible wealth while so many others are just struggling? It's a super frustrating question, right? It can feel like there's some big secret nobody's telling you.
So, what's the deal? Is there some secret formula to getting rich? Well, what we've found is that the answer isn't really a secret at all. It's actually a series of mindsets and habits. And believe it or not, it all starts with the way you think.
That's right. The most important factor, the real starting point, isn't what you do, but how you think. It all begins with your internal blueprint, your fundamental mindset. And really, it boils down to this core difference in perspective. You can put two people in the exact same situation, and where one person sees a total roadblock, the other sees a massive opportunity. You've probably heard this classic story, but it's perfect here. A shoe salesman goes to a country where nobody wears shoes. He calls his boss and says, "Pack it up. This is a dead end. Don't bother." But then the next salesman shows up and his eyes just go wide. He calls back totally ecstatic. "Send everything. No one here has shoes yet. I can sell a pair to literally everyone." You see? Same exact facts, but a completely different conclusion, all because of their mindset. And this isn't just about passively waiting for opportunities to fall in your lap. No way. The wealthy mindset actively seeks out problems. Why? Because they know that solving problems is exactly how you create value. So while most people back away from a challenge, they lean right in because that's where they see the path to real success. Okay, this same way of thinking also applies to your own resources, like money. Most of us are taught to think in terms of either or. That's a scarcity mindset. You've got $5, so you ask yourself, should I get the ice cream or the gum? The wealthy mindset, it thinks both. It asks a totally different question. How can I have both? That right there, that's the abundance mindset. So how on earth do you get both? Well, let's take that $5. Instead of choosing one or the other, you buy a 24-pack of water bottles. Then you go sell each bottle for 50 cents. Boom, you've just made $12. Now you can buy the ice cream and the gum, and you still have money left over. See? You've completely refused to accept the limitation. And one last thing on mindset, it's contagious. You know that famous saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? It's absolutely true. The wealthy are intentional about this. They surround themselves with positive, successful people. Your social circle doesn't just kind of influence you, it actively shapes your entire financial future. Okay, so having a powerful mindset is the foundation. It's the absolute starting line. But let's be real, it's pretty useless without action. And that's where habits come in. We're talking about the specific, repeatable things you do every day that turn those big thoughts into actual reality. So let's start with what you could call the master habit. When the legendary investor Warren Buffett was asked for the key to success, he literally just pointed to a giant stack of books. He said that knowledge builds up just like compound interest. It's this small daily investment that, over time, pays off with absolutely massive dividends. And it's not just Buffett. Bill Gates, he reads about 50 books a year. Mark Cuban reads for something like 3 hours a day. You gotta understand, for these people, reading isn't just a fun little hobby, it is a critical, non-negotiable tool for success. And we're not just talking about general knowledge here. I mean, think about this. Elon Musk didn't go to rocket school. He literally taught himself how to build rockets by reading textbooks. This is about acquiring tangible, world-changing skills all through focused self-education. Okay, those stories are powerful for sure, but the actual data, it's even more stark. Get this. Only about 1 in 50 people who are struggling financially has a daily habit of self-improvement reading. 1 in 50. Over time, that single habit creates this enormous, undeniable knowledge gap. All right, so we've all heard the saying, it's not just what you know, it's who you know. Well,
The numbers back that up, big time. Nearly 3/4 of wealthy people network or volunteer for at least 5 hours every month. Compare that to just 1 in 10 of those who are struggling. They are actively out there building the connections that lead to new opportunities. And finally, a big one. The wealthy are not afraid to promote themselves and their ideas. And look, this is not about bragging. It's about understanding a simple truth. If you have value to offer the world, you have a responsibility to share it. If you want to avoid average results, you have to be willing to communicate your worth. Okay, so we've got the mindset down and we've got the habits. The final pillar here is understanding the specific rules of the money game itself. It turns out the wealthy are just working from a completely different financial blueprint. And this brings us to a really crucial point, what we'll call the law of income. Here it is. You will be paid in direct proportion to the value you deliver to the marketplace. It's not about the hours you work, it's about the value you create. If you can create immense value, the marketplace will reward you immensely. This totally changes how you measure work, right? So many people are focused on input, the number of hours they put in. But the wealthy, they focus exclusively on output, the actual results they deliver. And let's be honest, in a results-driven world, that's the only metric that really, truly matters. And the way they keep score is different too. For most people, the scoreboard is their working income, like an hourly wage or a salary. For the wealthy, the scoreboard is their net worth. Because look, a high income doesn't mean much if you spend it all. Net worth, that's the true measure of wealth. It's what you own, what's growing, and what you can leverage for your future. This really gets to the heart of that old phrase, penny smart and dollar stupid. It's when you obsess over the $5 price of a coffee, but then you refuse to invest a few hundred in a course that could totally transform your career. The wealthy are disciplined with those small day-to-day expenses, sure, but they invest strategically and generously in the big things that actually create growth. Okay, wow, that was a lot of information, I know. But it all really boils down to just a few key principles. So, what's the big takeaway here? I mean, where do you even begin with all this? Well, it all comes down to these three pillars that work together. First, you've got the mindset shift, seeing opportunities, thinking both, and surrounding yourself with successful people. That mindset then fuels the actionable habits, reading constantly, networking, and promoting your value. And finally, those habits help you redraw your financial blueprint, so you're focused on value, building net worth, and investing in yourself. Look, at the end of the day, knowledge without action is just trivia. It's interesting, but it doesn't change anything. So I'm going to leave you with a direct question. Of all the habits and ideas we just explored, which single one will you start today? Seriously, because your answer to that question could be the very first step toward a completely new financial future.